My name is Max Stein, and it's a gut.
I'm the Mega Buck. I really love video games.
My name is Raph, and I also love video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Warning, the Game Treasure Podcast is not for children or anyone with a brain for that matter. This week, we are talking about a game that is both today and tomorrow. It's a game that's
fair
in its demo state, but is clearly ready to come out, please. You can just hurry up and come out now already so that I can spend money on the Battle Pass and buy all the things. A game that we've been hinting at, talking about last week, and that's Mecha Break. The game that's mecha breaking all these records on Steam. What is Mecha Break? Well, the long short of it is it's a third-person action game where you and a team of homies squad up as Gundams.
Yep.
and fight in a bunch of different game modes. But more on that later. Before we get into that, we are going to kick off our episode by having RetroGameTreasure.com and the Mega Buck take us back in time with this week's Retro Zone. Buck?
Let's go back in time. This week I brought a genre that I don't touch enough because it's pretty fun. I think I've only done one other Retro Zone game that's kind of sort of in this genre. It's part of a long-running series. You guys might be a fan of. Raph might be a fan of this series here. I'm talking about, cue the volleyball music, 2004's Ace Combat 5, The Unsung War.
Oh,
I
that
have played
kind of
this
volleyball
game.
music. I
Yeah.
understand now.
Cue the volleyball montage.
Yeah. Slam
We
some
going into the
aviators
danger
on.
zone here?
We are highway.
zone.
I should have done that for the intro. Let's go back in time.
Let's go back in time.
Yeah.
Okay,
hell yeah, there we
we'll
go.
fix it in post.
Yeah.
The Ace Combat series, if you haven't played it or not familiar, it's a combat flight simulation dogfighting game. I think the other game that I covered that I was referring to before was Crimson Skies, which is a dogfighting game as well too.
And
Great
this
game.
is the third Ace Combat you've got
This is
here?
the fifth Ace
Yeah.
Combat.
Oh, snap.
Yes,
This is
because
This
PS2.
is the one I've
because-
actually played.
this is a good. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because
This
up
one's really
until Ace Combat, before Ace Combat 7, 6 and below, I think they were all PlayStation exclusives.
Okay.
Which is funny because I think isn't like the current Ace Combat like Ace Combat 7 or 8,
I'm not sure.
and this is number 5, which is a PS2 title. So that's
It looks like 8 is the latest one.
yeah. This is 2004, so they only had 4 more iterations between those two
Wow.
20 years.
I don't remember this series at all.
Really? Oh, it's like
Yeah.
the best dogfighting series. This one in particular had
100%.
had like a pre-order. I mean, not a pre-order, like a special edition pack-in where you could get a Hori flight stick with it as well too.
Ooh,
the PS2, which is really cool.
Packing.
Yeah, the Ace Combat heads will tell you that there is a holy trinity of Ace Combat games, and that is 4, 5, and 0. Those are the favorites amongst the
Interesting.
Ace Combat
Any
lovers.
particular reason? Just
They
being
all
good,
have
I
different
guess?
reasons. One's got better narrating. This one in particular introduced a really cool mode. It actually dropped multiplayer, which on PS2, like, I don't know how much were you doing
Didn't really
multiplayer
matter,
maybe on
yeah.
this, for a really neat edition called Wingmen. It had a Wingmen feature, and that was where obviously you had other jets on your side. You did in the other ones too, just like a la, Star Fox or something.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
But you could give them instructions. You could select one of your wingmen, and then you could, with the D-pad, give them instructions
Yeah.
to intercept an enemy, defend you, cut some off. Yeah.
Ooh, like the SOCOM games almost.
Exactly.
Yes,
right,
but with
yeah.
jets.
But with
With-
shit.
with
I mean,
fighter
not
jets,
ships. I'm thinking ahead of myself with
That's right.
jets.
Right. Most of the Ace Combat games, this one's no different, have a ton of licensed real jets in them. Like you can fly,
Whoa.
real planes, not just made up fantasy
Right.
ones.
The Raptor.
Actual
yeah,
F-22
yeah,
Raptor
yeah,
or something
exactly.
like that, yeah.
Yep. And this one also added an arcade mode where you didn't have to follow along the specific story. You could just do like, one-off kind of different modes and missions and such.
Ah. I'm looking at footage right now of a trailer, and the cutscene. This looks like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
I don't know what
It's-
the plot of this is, but it looks like a very espionage drama filled. There's people
Yeah.
peering through blinds to see if they're being spied on. There's a
Yeah.
guy sitting on a swing during a sunset as someone who appears to be his superior is like
So funny.
asking him how he feels. Like, this looks cool as fuck. Wow. Ace Combat 5: The Unsung War.
I mean, it's a war game, so it's about a war between two fake countries,
Good. Nice and fake.
Whatever that means.
We
This
like our
is really-
fantasy fake.
So here's a good question for the what profile settings you would have in Retro Game Treasure, because this is like borderline simulator, is it not?
Guys, remember, Megabuck is a gamer. He understands this stuff. We have a category for vehicle shooters because there's a big difference
Whoa.
between an FPS shooter and Star Fox and Ace Combat.
True that.
So just like there's a big difference between action adventure games and survival horror games, and there's a big difference between puzzle games and strategy games, it's a big difference between these categories. And so there's plenty of games to go around, especially for newer consoles when it comes to vehicular combat. And so we just give you that as an option if you like that kind of game.
Would Twisted Metal be like a vehicular combat game as well?
Yeah,
then
I would think so. Yeah.
for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
But this wouldn't be as simmy to you as like Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh gosh, no, yeah, and I wouldn't
Right.
consider it that way because this is
It's
more about
more
the
arcadey.
action. Yeah,
It is.
it's
Okay.
more arcadey
yeah, it's
for
way
sure.
more about the action and not like, okay, you got to navigate to that location. Where is it? 700 clicks away. You're going to be flying this jet for the next 2.5 hours before you get there.
Oh, cool. Well, I've never played this before, but it looks cool as hell. Ace Combat 5 for the PlayStation 2. So go now to www.retrogametreasure.com. Don't forget they have the wishlist feature too. So you can always put Ace Combat 5 on your wish list in hopes of getting it for your PS2. Send me a copy, why don't you?
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, oh boy, we're going to talk about a game that I've wanted to talk about for days now in this house, and we've been resisting the urge. Mecha Break. When we come back. Be right back.
We can't let them crush our chance for peace.
That's what I hate about war. No matter who starts it, it always comes to this.
Okay, we are back, and we're here to talk about Mecha Break for this entire episode. We were going to do a hot Steam and talk about other things, but this happens a lot with the hot Steams where we'll play a Steam game and I'll go, never mind. We could just talk about this for an entire hour. This
It could be a hot Steam, I guess. This could be a hot Steam.
I mean,
It's
it's the
everyone's
hottest
hot
of Steam.
It could be a hot Steam, but it is also out for consoles. I did download it on my Xbox too to just give it a shot. My little, what's the smaller Xbox? It's bad that I own it. I don't even know the name of it. The white one, that's
Series
the
S,
digital
I
only
think.
one with the less stats. That one was struggling to run this game. It was the frames.
Really?
Yes.
Because interestingly enough, I mean, I know we'll get into it too, but as much as this game is beautiful, it feels very optimized, and mechs have long, flat surfaces that don't have to be very.
They're
That's
polygons.
I
that's
thought
it,
so
yeah.
too. My computer runs it fantastically, but yeah, the cutscenes even like the game slowed down and got all chuggy and just like they
that's no
look
good.
not as nice. And I was just
Yeah.
like, maybe on the other Xbox and probably definitely on the PS5 this is better, but just word a word of caution, I guess. If you're like, oh, these guys like this game, it's on my Xbox, let me download it. If you
Oh,
open it up
God.
and go, "Bleh," then that wasn't. That's not us. That be forewarned. I know.
Your 22 frames are not our fault.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. Go download it for your computer. So Mecha Break. Let's just dive right the fuck in.
Mhm.
Developed by Amazing Season Games. Season is spelled Seasun. This is
It's not C-Sun.
CSUN.
maybe it
so
is.
weird.
If it's one
Maybe
word
it
though,
is.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Amazing
Right.
Season Games. It's just like that's also weird. It's a subsidiary of a company called Kingsoft, which is a Chinese software company that mostly dabbles in pedestrian stuff, thankfully. So unlike our Marvel Rivals episode where it was guys who controlled the most email addresses in all of China, instead this company dabbles more in things like office software and cell phone like internet technology.
Interesting.
And they also have a video games division, which is this Amazing Seasun Games company. So the most popular game that Amazing Seasun had before this is some game called JX Online 3, which I looked up.
What the fuck
That
is
is it's an MMORPG
Imagine that.
that has millions of players as of like 2020, apparently. I just did a cursory glance just to like see what it is. And it's just like a sort of very middling looking MMO that looked honestly like that game Silk Road for the Xbox.
Oh, you say for the Xbox was hilarious because I'm pretty sure I played that on PC in college 20 years
Hell
ago.
yeah.
Silk Road? I've never even
You ever
heard
play
of
that? It was a
No.
BioWare, was it? It was, I don't know. It was
No,
before
that was
all
a
these
Chinese dev.
Was it Silk Road? It was
Silk Road, I
was
believe,
like
yeah.
a BioWare
Wow.
game. Doesn't
Right.
matter. My
Yeah,
point
right.
is
Fair.
they have a game like that called JX Online 3, which apparently millions of people in China play.
JX Online 3.
I
It's
was
like the
like,
worst.
whatever the fuck.
Very catchy
It's-
name.
It looks imagine what it looks like. That's what it looks like. That's what,
Duly noted. Okay.
That's what it looks
It's
like.
good. It's good.
So, Mecha Break is unveiled at the 2023 Game Awards. And since then, there have been several betas and alphas. The first one, I think, was like in August of 2024 or something. That also doesn't really matter. What you need to know is now it's in its demo state.
Mm.
So it's out of betas and you don't have to request for permission or whatever. You can just download it on your Xbox or on your computer. Download it, get through the opening mission, which is going to take you a hot second, and you're going to go, what is this game? Like it's a versus game, but I'm doing these opening missions, which is a sort of, they're jamming this story down my throat. The story is incomprehensible. Do not worry. I skipped most of it. The voice acting you might want to stick around for just because it's hilariously bad.
Oh yeah.
But they
yeah,
say
yeah.
that ahead of time. Like, this game's not ready yet. We pieced together a bunch
Yeah.
of different
It straight up tells you this is not the end product. We swear.
But once you get through that training mode or bullshit, you are greeted to Chinese bad menu. Like we've talked about this in other like Chinese shovelware games, like where it's just like the menus, like what is the deal? Where you're just like, there's so many tabs and there's so many things you're trying to sell me, and the quest menu and the fucking
Oh, menu
Like-
vomit. Yeah.
the quest menu and the menu where I invite my friends to my party share a window.
yeah.
Why? Like why would that be
Because
the
they took a
case?
lesson from the Hunt developers and went, these guys know what they're doing.
Or it's like, or it reminds me of that Pokemon MOBA, like or
Unite.
or Unite, or that game that Raph and I played with, where you're the shooter where you become flat,
Oh yeah. yeah.
Nostrova
yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
where it's
But
just
see,
like
Unite at least has
ugh.
the excuse of being mostly a portable game. These other
I
ones
guess
don't have
that's
an
true.
excuse
It
because
doesn't.
they're-
I played portable games where the menu is not
it's true.
rubbish.
The weird thing to me about games like that is like these people, okay, there's steps involved, right? It's not just I make video game. It's like I play a lot of video games and really enjoy video games. I want to make video games for a living. I go to school for video games and learn a coding language. I get a job. Now I'm making video games. And then you drop the fucking ball and forget like the last 10 years of your life
Yeah.
and you make the venue shit.
I don't know how that happens. I think it's just because they're trying to sell you too many things.
Right.
I
exactly,
digress.
Yeah.
So this game, as I mentioned, JX Online 3 is a big hit over in China. This game, we said in last week's episode, is like storming Steam. It beat Marvel Rivals on its opening day. I think the numbers have died down, but enough people have gotten through that shitty voice acting and that terrible tutorial to get to the meat of this amazing, amazing fucking game.
Boy, is it meaty too.
So my first note is, not since Virtual On has a game
Nice.
invoked inside of me the feeling of being a mech pilot so well,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Anybody
Mhm.
else want to piggyback on this? Right? Am I wrong here?
I mean, I played the beta in August, and I'll just say I told you so.
No, yeah, this is 100% the best Gundam game I've ever played.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
I tried to play on the Xbox, as I stated before, and I tried to play with the controller. Can't be done. Cannot be done. You need all 10 digits to play this fucking game, bro.
Mhm.
I
yeah.
use a freaking secondary controller, a MOBA controller I have with like 10 keys plus a thumb thing. Like I full on Gundam the shit out of this game when I play it.
If you look online on YouTube to people who are really deep diving into this game,
This is crazy.
people are absolutely breaking out the double flight stick, like foot pedal,
Yeah.
fucking like what was that Xbox game that where you play as the
Steel
mechs
Battalion.
with- Steel Battalion.
Yeah.
Like they're going full blown Steel Battalion because it is.
Has anybody
that-
done that yet? Has anybody like wired up a Steel Battalion controller to work with this thing?
I don't think I'll Google it, but
That'd be
I haven't
cool.
seen anyone doing it. But definitely the
Right.
double stick thing is an absolute. I mean, people be doing it because there's just the maneuverability in this game. Let's start first with the game modes real quick because there are several of them, which is fun. Smallest one is a 3v3 deathmatch mode called Ace Arena that
Mhm.
I have not gotten to play yet because I'm not a high enough level.
It's not worth writing home about, if we're being perfectly honest.
Yeah. So let's get into the basic main mode of the game, which is Operation Verge is the name of like the sort of main queue of games that you enter to play online. So, all the missions in the Verge are all 6v6 team battles. So, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions of these 6v6 battles that happen. First one is called Eye of Misra. They all have weird titles like this. Don't ask me why. So in the Eye of Misra gameplay, there are keys that spawn on this map that you all are fighting on. And the objective of the game is to run to the key, pick it up, and then bring it back to this like home base area where you have to like basically play like ring around the posy like around this ring.
There's a rocket ship you're trying to get the keys to, and you can
That's what it
circle
is.
strafe it.
Right, exactly.
You'd have to stay within a close proximity of it, and obviously, like everyone gets warned when you're on your way to it, and so the enemy will fucking try to beat you there and fuck you up while you're trying to score. I have played this gameplay mode the most. I like to play as a mech that turns into a fucking jet, and he's really
Ooh,
good
yeah.
at grabbing
Very
the
good
key
choice.
and then zipping
Starscream over
back to
here.
the thing.
Yeah.
Oh my
Gundam
god, it's
F91.
so fun. There's a mode called Palm Bay Harbor, which is also really fucking cool, which is imagine the Overwatch escort mission, but times 2.
Such
In
a
other
great
words,
twist.
it's so good.
Because
Yes,
both teams
such
have a
great
payload
twist.
to push, and they only
Both
intersect at certain
teams
points.
have a payload to push. So you have to pull double duty because sometimes you want to be on your payload, moving it and or defending it. And sometimes if you're ahead, you might be like, you know what? I'm going to jump over to their payload and go fuck with it. I'm going to go because if you sit on their payload, it goes backwards, just like in Overwatch. And obviously, if they're trying to push their payload, you can just like show up and be like, "What's up, fuckers?" and just like start wrecking
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
So while that's happening, maybe yours starts getting attacked, and you have to make the decision of like, "Oh shit!" While I was away, they switch. So now I got to switch back, turn back into a fucking jet, and fly back to the fucking. It's
Everything
it's
about
so good.
Yeah.
It's I like Buck was like, as soon as you're like, it's like this, but there's 2 payloads. I was like, oh my god, that's the best idea ever. That's
Right.
such a smart. What?
I know you're going to go over the rest of these maps, but it's like I can't help but feel like one of the things that's getting overlooked in this game a lot is the uniqueness of some of the maps / modes that they created.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the mechs, okay, the this, and we'll dive into that as well too. But while we're talking about those maps, it's like that is such a cool idea. The keys spawning in different areas, they give you a heads up, but one of the 3 keys is in a completely open area. One of the 3 keys is inside a compound, so everybody has to go inside, including the sniper that's always perching up, or has to stay outside, wait for them to exit, including the turret guy. And so, you know, we'll get into it, but there's complaints people have about certain mechs, and it's like certain mechs that are awesome on one map suck on another map.
Yeah.
And that's part of the game's balance.
And
I
mechs
think-
will have like counters to them ostensibly, where it's just like, you know, this light jet guy, if there's this light sniper guy on the field, like you got to watch out because he'll one shot you. You know
And
what I
you
mean?
certain
can't
matchups that
switch,
you-
and you can't switch mechs mid-match like you can in, you know, a hero shooter.
Right.
That's the mech you are for the match. So
You
if you're
gotta
not,
stick with it.
if you don't know the map or you're not balanced with that mech, then you're setting yourself up. You can't blame the game.
I think this game honestly just takes every concept that I've seen in other hero shooters and just subverts them. Everything from like the map design to like, I mean, and it's all designed around the verticality of the game, like how quickly you can
Yeah.
move in every single direction.
And I
too.
think we'll get into that. And
Yeah,
Mac wants to
yeah.
go through the rest of the maps.
The next mode is Kraub Sinkhole.
What'd you just call me?
Kraub Sinkhole.
Is that the one that's like a giant crater?
This is, I
like,
believe so.
with
It's
ridges
the one,
all around it.
there are 3 like data nodes is what they call
Yes.
them on the map, and it basically becomes capture control. So it's very similar to like there's the same mode in Halo where it's just like, all right, so you fight for A, you got it. All right, now you stay here. I'm gonna go to B. You come with me. All right, now we're in control of all 3 nodes, and you score points over time, like depending on how many nodes you control. So that is one where it's like, okay, now a familiar game mode because, like Buck said, they've been quite original. There's one. Oh, what was the name of this one? Shoot, I forgot to write the name down. There's one where giant extractors, like slowly fall out of the sky and like land onto the ground, and then it becomes a race to the first team to kill like 10 of those extractors wins.
And some are worth 1 point, but the big one that spawns in the middle, I think, is worth 2 points, and it's first to 8.
Right. So it becomes a matter of just like, trying to like beat people to the, like, oh, an extractor land. Let's go fuck it. Oh, another one. All right, this one's almost done. Or like, fuck it, they got this one. Let's go try to go for this one.
But again, a little bit unique because you're fighting over it. It takes a couple seconds to channel it, and then there's a big one that pops up in the middle that basically says, okay, you got a team fight now. Like this one's in the open. There's no getting away from it. The snipers are going to shoot you. Everything else.
And then the last mode is a 2 out of 3 death match where it's just 6v6 teams, and first person to 6 kills wins the round.
And
And
that is the same as the Ace Arena mode that you have not played.
Right. Okay, but it's just
that
with,
map rotation is the same.
with 6 people basically. But it's like it takes place on these 3 big craters, and then every once in a while a huge storm will envelop like one of the craters like entirely.
It almost seems like they're like little biomes, like from like a Side 7 Gundam colony kind of thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that is true.
That's almost what they are.
Definitely people like living in space as part of the plot of this. Like something about, in the intro, they say like, you Spaceys or something like that. You Kevin Spaceys.
Because they can't say space noids.
So yeah, it was
I'm wearing my Gundam Roosevelt shirt today that's got Zaku's
beautiful.
and RX-78s all over.
Yeah. And so those fucking 5 crazy unique things is the regular rotation of game modes that you go through. And then right now they have a limited time like game mode that's going on, the season thingy that's happening. I don't know if this is like going to stick around, but this is what got teased at the last Game Awards, where like there's going to be an extraction shooter like PvPvE thing, and it's called Mashmock. I don't know why they insisted. I think it's like they wants to be German inspired or something, just like Gundam. It kind of is. Anyhow, Mashmak. Mashmak. So it's an extraction shooter adjacent like sort of mode of gameplay where you enter a very large map populated with NPC mechs that like some of them are like crazy awesome big huge like monster
bosses,
beast boys. Yeah, like they call them like epic mechs or something, and they'll be like fucking Shadow of the Colossus size, and they'll look like crazy blocky monstrosities. But yeah, so you enter this map with a team of 3, and the name of the game is basically you kill NPCs and explore the area to like get loot straight up, like fucking battlegrounds or fucking hunt or something. Like not even hunt, like it's more like Tarkov, where like you're going in to get treasure that you're trying to pull out essentially.
Right.
And the way you pull it out is 2 ways. You get a like cool ass like rocket ship that you can call down that is unique to every person. So every person can call down their rocket ship and only they can use it. And you can stuff items that you found into it and then like send it away.
Yeah.
So that if you don't escape, like if you get killed before you exit, like you still get that
stuff. Get some stuff, which is super cool.
And you can upgrade that so you can have it take more stuff the more you upgrade it.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
And I was just like, this is brilliant. This is so smart, because sometimes Raph and I played a bunch of this game mode and we would like put in a bunch of work to get a bunch of stuff. And it was just like, all right, let's call in our rockets, and we'd send 3 things away. And sometimes we'd get caught on the way out. And it'd be like, you know what? I don't even really care because
Yeah.
at least we pulled out
I
3
got a
rare
couple good
things.
items out of it. Yeah.
Fuck it. And if you get away, then you get everything. So the way the actual extraction part works is just like there is a bar at the top of the screen that slowly fills, and it like along the bar are little notches that indicate when things are going to spawn. Not only like storms that get caused by those extractor thingies, which spawn on this map, which you can destroy not only for like mission points, but also to stop those storms from spawning. But along that timeline, one of the notches three of the notches will be 3 different extraction spots that are going to spawn on that giant map. So it is not a secret, like when one is coming up. Like you will be fighting with your friends and you'll be like, how you doing? You'll be like, I'm pretty full on shit. How about you? Yeah, I'm pretty full on shit. You see the time counter? Yeah, extraction A is going to show up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you want to do? And then eventually, like, a voice will come over and extraction A will spawn in 60 seconds or whatever the fuck it is. And then you open up your world map and they'll just straight up be a marker on there that says like extraction A is going to be here, and then it'll have like a little wheel that slowly fills up, and then the name of the game becomes like fucking like, all right, you want to go? Yeah, let's go. But obviously it's like that first extraction is probably going to be a lot of people that are going to want to jump out real quick, right? They got their shit and they're ready to go out, and so it's just like me and Raph learned very quickly that
don't
much
go for
like
the
most exactly, or if you do go, it's just like don't run right up on it and sit on it. You know what I mean?
Because you are a sniper, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Wait in the shadows is the name of the game.
Raph and I both like to play as pretty fast mechs, and so we would sort of like wait in a fucking mountainside ravine, like with our lasers trained down sight. Just be like, yep, we got some takers. What do you want to do? Let's let them open it. And then once they open the extraction thing, it becomes like a matter of it's open. Like once it lands, you have to activate it. It opens up. And then first it'll be open for a certain amount of time. And all you have to do is land within like this area around it. Yeah. Another thing where I was like, that's really good.
Yeah.
Like I'm not I understand the mechanics of like, I love hunt, but then you got to touch the thing and then wait for the 30 seconds and you can get interrupted. That's one style of gameplay. Another style is like just fucking like, yeah, because like it was actually cool to like have. There was a moment where I had ran to a thing, opened it up, and then Raph was just like a slower mech than me. Yeah. And I was like, Raph, you just gotta touch it. You just gotta touch it. And like as he's getting there, he runs at a boost, and then a group of enemy mechs come over the fucking like horizon. I'm just like, oh no.
And they're shooting at me. I'm bobbing and weaving and shit and fucking like dodging blasts. And then I catch it and I'm out, dude. It was awesome.
PvPvE mode. So like I said, there's other squads of fucking mechs that you can just run across, not only at the extraction area, but just at any time. You'll just be playing. Me and Raph have certainly found it where we'll find someone all by their lonesome because they split off from their group for whatever reason. And it's just like, oh, it's fresh meat, baby. And we just fucking chase this bitch through the mountains. Like we are fucking Gundam pilot. Like I cannot, like we are zipping and zapping and zopping over rivers and through ravines and like through bases, like cool mech bases. You're like zipping through them. It feels just, it's so incredible in ways I can't even. So the last thing about this mash mech mode that I wanted to mention, that's the coolest thing about it, is that on top of the rocket that you can call in and then have it whatever, you can call in like things that'll heal you and your allies, things that can respawn your allies, which you can like drop ahead of time and then activate when you need to. So if you're like about to get into a fight, like me and Raph like see a bunch of mechs coming, and I'm like, fuck, and just like drop a respawn thing behind us, be like, let's fucking go, hill, pull up that sniper rifle and fucking get to work.
Cool.
But there is an option to drop alternate weapons for you to equip. So you get one sort of like alternate, like left and right. So not every mech has alternate. There's like one or two that have like they switch between a sword and a shield and a gun, but most of them don't. So in this mode, everyone can. And it results in really fucking cool customized versions of these mechs that you know and love, but then sometimes people have loadouts where you go, oh, whoa, he's got the blank with the blank. Like
that's a good idea.
There's a character that I like to play as now called the Aquila, who
I like that one. That's the one I used when we played.
Yeah, he He's like a sniper guy, not the heaviest sniper, but like a medium sniper. But his catch is that he can turn on these like this mode that lets him move like incredibly fast,
aerial agility, yeah,
and for a long amount of time. And so normally the way you use him is you sort of jump up in the air and then hover around sniping shit like quickly. But then I gave him an alternate like loadout that's a sword and a shield. And now I've just got tall geese. I just straight up have tall geese from Gundam Wing, where it's just like from far away, I'm pulling out this huge laser rifle and like doom, doom, doom. But then like when shit hits the fan and I'm like getting surrounded, just boom, bust out the sword and shield and turn on the fucking jets. So I'm moving super fast and just zipping around and cutting people. And I was just like, I'm getting goosebumps just describing this game. Like it's so fucking good, bro.
This game is
just fun too.
Fulfilled every like childhood fantasy of mine of being in a Gundam. Like, dude, I mean, like I usually use the Stego now, and just
the missile pod,
dude, the missile pods. But then I gave it as my secondary weapon twin Gatling guns, so I could just like switch up to the Gatling guns, and I am heavy arms now. That's it. like that's it. You know,
complete with can run out of ammo.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Buck mentioned there's these gliders that you can get in this mode. So not every mech is the most mobile, and the game says we understand that, and we understand we're asking you to go across this big area. So let's you can summon a glider that you can just if you're the heavy arms Gundam and you're just like way too slow, you just plop yourself on this glider, and then the gliders you can customize those.
Yeah,
to where
with
it's just
machine guns and healing and all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff, like literally like 7 or 8 different like versions of the glider that you can use to compensate for shortcomings or for to just make crazy combos where you're like, I'm the crazy fucking tank mech and my thing can like snipe people and I've got an alternate loadout where I can fucking do whatever, like guise all of my allies in a cloud of smoke that makes it to where laser weapons do less damage to us. The weapons, like for the loadouts, like you get their blueprints in that mash mech mode, and then you take them back to your home base basically and exchange them for like upgraded, like you get a sword blueprint, take it back home, unlock the sword. Then the game says, all right, now if you bring me 2 sword blueprints, you can take the level 2 sword out. And then 3, and then 4, and then so on and so forth. And so like you find a weapon that you like, and then you're sort of hunting for it while you're in this mash mech mode. Like you get little sort of mini objectives and emergent gameplay that comes with like what you and your allies are hunting for. Jesus fucking Christ, it's so fucking dope. So the mechs. Let's talk about the fucking mechs themselves.
Bread and butter.
Because there's a fucking bunch of them. There's a bunch of them, and they're all really, really fucking cool. All right, I'm going to just go down the list, and feel free, gentlemen, to explain to me why they're all so cool. I will do the same.
Okay, I was going to say the preface to this is mechs in this game are more relative to classes in a hero shooter than what you normally think of on a mech. In the PvP mode, they're fixed for the most part, and they behave more like classes in the way that they're set up.
That's right. And I would say the 3 main classes are damage dealer, tank, and healer.
Right.
Something we all know.
I guess, but within there's sniper and other subclasses, you could say.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
So, Falcon is like this cool light striker that can like go into a high mobility airplane adjacent mode.
Starscream.
It has a bunch. No, that's a different one. Falcon's the lighter one. Falcon has like a special power that the Starscream guy does not have, where he can like open this, like he has a horn that splits into a divide just like Unicorn Gundam.
He's a Gundam, yeah.
And you can use it to find people who are cloaked, which several of the Gundams have the power to cloak themselves. So he's like a light attacking sort of anti-espionage Gundam who specializes in like physical guns. So he has machine guns and missiles.
Because he's better at hunting down and annoying mechs rather than finishing them off.
Right.
Yeah, he's a harass specialist.
Because mechs, every mech has a system. You have a health bar, but then you have a shield. and the shield regenerates a la Halo.
Right.
And it's just like certain weapons are better at plinking shield, and
Mhm.
certain weapons are better at like going through shield or
Mhm.
depleting shield. Like lasers might be better at zapping through shields, whereas like once a shield is down, bullets and missiles absolutely do more damage. Like, and so this all comes into play when it comes into picking these mechs. Tricera is the next mech on the list. This motherfucker is heavy arms. He looks like if Metal Gear Rex and Heavy Arms had a baby. Like he's like, hugely bulky and like has like backward bending like animal looking legs and just like 2 huge miniguns on top and 2 huge miniguns on the bottom. He has a
And he transforms into a turret mode.
Yeah, it goes in that crazy turret mode. Yeah.
He can
Surrounded by shields.
surrounded by shields, and then while in that shielded mode, he can like shoot out little baby like healing mechs that like
Right.
stick to him like little like those fish that stick to sharks or whatever. And so he
Remoras.
just becomes like immovable at the expense of not being able to move. The next one is the Narukami. That's the stealth sniper.
Hell yes.
She can become invisible. She can shoot a grappling hook up to like walls, and then wherever she lands her grappling hook, she sticks there. So you can like become invisible and then like zip yourself to this like to the top of a mountain, and then you're just like up there. Like that fucking what's the green Gundam from Gundam 00, Buck? Like the sniper one.
Dynamis?
Dynamis. It reminds me so much of that. She's got like these like fans that spread out, and she can turn other people invisible. God, it's so fucking good.
She creates clones of herself, and they all shoot. So if because every time you shoot, they can kind of see your silhouette, and so they go, okay, there's 3 of them. One of them's real.
Oh, so cool. The next one is the Welkin. This motherfucker is a Zaku.
He's a Zaku.
Yeah.
He is just straight up a Zaku.
Yeah. He's got a plasma
so fun to
axe.
play, too.
He's a Zaku.
He has a plasma axe and a shoulder mounted like grenade launcher.
Yeah.
Like the purple Zaku's.
Yeah.
He's got this crazy like shield that he can encase you in, where it's just like a you're locked in
It's
here
you
with
and me, baby.
situation.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
like he puts you and him in a fucking cage where you just have to fucking fight him, which you do
Lock
not
on
want to do
people.
unless you are also
Wail
a
on
melee
him.
guy.
And it's important to note that when you're talking about that guy in particular, there is a currency, if you will, of energy that every mech has.
Right.
And that energy is used for your movement, your dashing, your aerial, your weapons. You know, while you have ammo with guns, you still use energy to do certain things, or if it's an energy weapon, it might, whatever else.
Yeah.
But the bottom line of that is that if you're a melee mech, you can't, in a lot of cases, dash into them and then have enough energy left over to do a wombo combo and ruin their day. You have to be smart about it. And what it does is it creates this balancing system in the game where the guy you're attacking will have that energy to dodge and outmaneuver you if they're smart.
Yeah.
The economy of dealing with the energy is so good, and
It really
addictive.
is.
It's
I
one
think a
of
lot
my
of people are
favorite
looking over it.
aspects.
I have a lot of notes I want to talk to after we get through the mechs on here too, but I think people are really overlooking that economy, the energy to just say, get good, kid.
Right. The Hurricane is a super heavy like shield generating fucking defending style Gundam. I couldn't think of a comparison. He almost looks like he has the body of Dark Gundam from G Gundam. If you know what I'm talking about.
What is the other one from 00? Natalie, or the other one when he's in the big mode, when he's in the turtle
Natalhide,
mode?
I think, or something like this.
Yeah.
Aquila is that one I mentioned before that just looks like tall geese. He's super mobile. He has this thing where in this game there is a lock-on system that is so good.
Yeah.
And the way it works is just like you have a reticle in front of you that's decently sized. And if you can just like put someone within it, the game will lock on, and different weapons have different lock-on speeds. And once you're locked on, you can fire. And as long as you haven't drastically changed the direction that you are facing, like you will land a hit. And so this guy is like a sniper rifle guy, but he has like a power where he expands that reticle to be like the entire screen.
It becomes like a large rectangle, yeah.
Yeah, and then he
Right,
can
yeah.
shoot like he can lock onto multiple targets. So then you can just like empty out his sniper rifle, and it just like assigns the bullets to different guys. So you can just like walk up to a group of 3 mechs and then pop that, and then just like bang, 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 bang,
all
bang,
3
and
of
he
them at
just
the
like
same
starts
time, yeah.
fucking. You just become an ace shot, crack shot, like badass motherfucker. It's so good. The Eliseness is like the Ryu of the game. It's like the default Gundam. And it is absolutely Gundam 00, that Gundam that Buck was referencing before, where like you think it's really bulky, but then it turns out it's just wearing a bunch of padding, and then it launches all the padding off. So the way this works in game mechanics is like an extra life, essentially, where it's just like you start off with all your bulk. When you die, he just like the bulk falls off and you become like this like slimmed down version of yourself that's like much faster, but you have a smaller weapon pool to choose from.
Right. I was gonna say it's kind of like the diva mechanic in Overwatch, except you become slightly more terrifying once the armor's gone.
It's like the diva mechanic, but instead of becoming just vulnerable until you can,
get
your
the armor back in.
cooldown until your cooldown stops, you just become a different version of yourself. You become a glass cannon. So you just have to play differently.
Yeah, right.
So if you can last until your armor boots up, it's just like you didn't die. You retreat, you armor back up, and then you're ready to go, and you get your extra weapons and shit. Great idea. Sky Raider is my favorite mech in the game.
Ooh,
this motherfucker. This is the stars. This is the guy. The Starscream.
Yes,
straight up Macross. This dude is like,
Megatron, is that you?
You press a button and he just becomes an airplane, and it feels good every single time you do it.
Yep.
Both the airplane mechs in this game can do like loop-de-loop maneuvers in order to lose people, and it is just like, when you do a loop-de-loop and then you see a huge laser beam come zooming through the area that you were just in, but you did a loop-de-loop, and so you avoided it, but you didn't know it was coming, and you're like, I'm Hiro Yui. I am a Gundam pilot. I am literally the coolest person in the planet.
And after a match, the game will show you a bunch of your highlights from the match. Yeah. So you get to see that, and you're like, oh, shit, I pulled that off.
Damn, I was super cool.
The Stego.
I'm so cool.
The Stego is like another huge fucking defensive mech, but this one uses missiles instead of Gatling guns.
He's the other half of heavy.
He's my favorite one. It's a heavy attacker, actually. You can be pretty damn aggressive with that thing.
And his is interesting too because he just has a shield in front of him when he does his turret mode, and he shoots the missiles all around differently. Him. So they're also very different. So if you haven't noticed the pattern yet, there are mechs that are similar to each other but different in their movesets and different in their weapons, even though they have a similar setup.
They might even play different roles.
Right.
The Panther is the next mech. This motherfucker is
the bane of my existence.
It is Jehuti from Zone of the Enders.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a great analog.
It looks just like him. This guy has a shield and then 2 different melee weapons.
Yeah.
And that attack in different ways. That's really fucking cool. The Lumine is this like speedy healer type that shoots little healing drones. He literally has robotic angel wings like Wing Gundam does in Endless Waltz. It's fucking tight. There's one called the Pinaka, which I wrote in my notes. It looks like or Pinaka, Pinaka. I wrote in my notes, it looks like Shining Gundam and Zenyatta from Overwatch had a baby. So it's got like this giant ring behind it like Shining Gundam has, but it's like all gold, and like it's like regular click is to like do the equivalent of a melee attack, but it's a healing move. So you like run at your like allies and like punch them and heal them with your fists. It's really cool. And then lastly, the Inferno is the mech that you can only unlock by doing the limited gameplay mode shit. You have to get like a bajillion zillion currency in that mode to unlock the Inferno, which is a mech that is, I think, a heavy attacker, but it's wielding 2 gigantic laser rifles, which if you look at the preview, it can put together in front of itself and shoot simultaneously. It is literally
has a giant beam,
just like Wing Gundam.
I unlocked it in the first. I unlocked it in the first beta, but I didn't play him for very long because I wasn't a favorite of him. But because he's like not overpowered, he's just the last one you unlock. I'm trying to remember what he played like. I want to say he played kind of similar to the Aquila, but his gun was more focus fire.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So, gentlemen, go ahead. Give me your gush. Tell me what you think about Mecha Break and what else you want to say. Buck, Raph, have at it.
I played a lot of Gundam Evolution, which was the Gundam Overwatch clone. I'm a big mecha fan, in case you guys didn't know already, right? So I love Gundam, and I love a lot of this stuff, and I grew up on Transformers and all kinds of different mecha stuff. This game does a really good job of saying this isn't really a hero shooter. You don't die 5 or 10 times in a round in this game.
No.
You die like
And it's like going full blast, like waiting to get, like literally the idea of like building tension. You are watching a tense rope shake as your mech is like getting ready to go.
You know what you're watching? You're watching Ava Unit 0 at the bottom of the launch tube with its freaking power connector still connected, waiting to get launched up to, you know, fight an angel kind of thing, like Evangelion. The speed of gameplay in this game is pretty darn close to perfect. It's just a little bit slower than like an Armored Core, like maybe 80% of an Armored Core, to give all the players, you know, a chance to actually play against one another. But like Mac mentioned earlier, the way you use that energy mechanic, you learn things. Certain mechs don't use as much energy when they boost and dash boost in the air, and other mechs need to be on the ground. The big heavy boys, they got to be on the ground, or they use like a third of their boost to boost in the midair, right? And that's
which
where
they need for shooting and
they
whatnot,
do,
right?
And so I think that balances the game really well in that respect. If you guys, Brads and Bradettes, if you watch our Marvel Rivals episode, I talked about how I like the fact that in Marvel Rivals, they didn't just say, you got 3 buttons, that's what you're doing. Like, these are the only 3 buttons you get. Sorry.
Right.
So they can't balance the game by changing things and whatnot. I didn't pay enough attention in the last beta to what has changed from this one, but I read some patch notes that, like Welkin in particular, they did some things. But some mechs just have more or less abilities that they can do. You know, that the healer, when you're talking about the Lumine, Max said, you know, it has that dash ability where it can turn on aerial mobility for a short time to escape. But other than that, it really just has its healing, like pods or shooters that it can do. And it can switch between healing with them, or let's call it like, you know, poison damage with them, right? It literally just goes between those 2 things. Whereas some of the other mechs have multiple weapons and they switch between, you know, like you said, rocket or sword and shield or whatever else, and secondary stuff. And so I see the room for them to continue to balance and improve this game more easily, because they weren't trying to pigeonhole it into the hero shooter, you know, 3 move kind of thing.
Yeah, the guys that turn into planes like only have access to their most powerful powers when they are planes.
Yeah. When you turn into a mech.
Right.
Which sometimes, though, you get to the point where loop-to-loop and turning around isn't going to work. So you got to turn back into a robot. There is a button when you're in the air.
Oh, yes.
There's normally you can go up, right? And there's a button to go down. There is a button to like Mario style ass slam to the ground.
Right.
When there is no more satisfying feeling than you're being sniped from 2 different directions by the enemy, and you look down and you see that there's like a crevice where you would be, and you just go boom, and now they instantly can't shoot you. You just saved yourself by doing the butt slam, and then you
start getting your energy back as soon as you land, and then you get enough and you go and you zoom out of the ravine, and because
you kind of know where they are. You turn into a ship, you bank right, and then you find out where one of they're at, whatever else too. I love that portion of it too. I've been reading a lot of the Steam reviews on this game, which is still unbelievably mostly negative, and I have to chime in and say, man, I cannot believe how wrong some of these people are, and I'm going to give you some real reasons why. Not just I like the game and you guys are stupid. You know, the one guy that says the ping is really bad, he's just wrong. His internet's busted because there's no wrong.
He's probably on the Chinese servers, which it tries to default you to when you load the game up. And
that is a great example of what I think is currently wrong with the game. There's a lot of stuff going on, and rather than shoving tutorial down your throat, They let you play a lot. You play a neat little tutorial at the beginning, which I just read 3 negative reviews going, they made me play this damn tutorial and I just want to play the game. Like, shut the fuck up. Get through the they don't force you in a tutorial about the different characters. They don't force you into a tutorial about how energy works. They don't force you in Mash Mac to tell you, people reading about and saying, oh, this one is too overpowered or this mech is too good. And it's like, no, one, you suck. But in the real world, two, there's ways to get around every mech.
It's
Every
plays and
mech
counterplays.
has a,
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's rock, but it's not rock, paper, scissors. It's rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. Like there's all the different ways around it too, right?
Yeah.
And so most of the points that they're making in here are just things talking about exactly that. If they read the third sentence, they stopped at the second sentence. If they'd read the third sentence, it would have been like, no, actually, if you do this, it gets around that, you know? And again, to give like good examples on some of these, someone was talking about how in the PvPvE mode, they're like, oh, such and such mech just feels way too overpowered. They obviously have not gotten to the point in that mode where you can customize and swap out your own weapons, or you can, you know, put on a healing glider to help support yourself and your team. They obviously have not gone to that next step, but that's because there's not a giant tutorial shoving all of this down your throat.
It sounds like they haven't explored the game as well as they probably should have yet.
Right.
And that's understandable.
There's a lot to explore. It's dense.
There's a lot to explore. But my favorite review is this guy that just said most of the negative reviews are making fair points, but this is still a great game, and fighting in mechs just feels so good.
No, absolutely.
Give us your spiel.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I want to say that this game is my favorite hero shooter because it's not a hero shooter. And there's a couple of different reasons why. You know, you talked about the synchronicity, I think, with the choice of mechs that you have, and the way that the matchmaking works in this game is fucking superbly done. I think we were talking about it the other day. I haven't had any issues where like I have chosen a mech and then I've like had to like kind of fight for that mech. It just kind of like throws you in with people that have chosen, I guess, things that are complementary or things that are not.
That's so great, isn't it? Like it asks
fantastic.
What you're looking for.
I love it. Absolutely, dude. Yeah, no, it's amazing. You already mentioned like the game juice in this game is delicious. Okay, like absolutely delicious. Like the fucking loading screen, the thing with the cables. Oh, every time I'm like, I just want to go. I just want to go. You know, I fucking love it, dude. It's amazing. Dropping in kicks ass. Executions kick ass. When you drop somebody, you can execute them.
Oh my god, that's right.
Mac, have you done an execution yet as the Tricera? Have you done one yet as the Tricera?
No.
He literally, they can't move, and he whips the gun around. He like drills into them with bullets, and then whips the giant cannon around, and just right into their skull.
Dude, and you know, it goes to it speaks to like the mech designs in general. They're incredible. Like every mech feels unique, and they feel like they serve a purpose in like the greater narrative of each match, you know, so to speak. You know, it takes all of the same hero shooter stuff and just subverts it, and it makes it cooler, you know. Like we were talking about that mode with like the transporting the cargo or whatever, and how you have like a dual cargo that you have to like fight against them while they're transporting their cargo, and then you get to a point where you can get that speed boost by hacking that one central point when they overlap, and it's like, dude,
you fight over like a little like capture area A, and it'll like whoever wins it, your thing just gets a sudden like and like zips halfway through the level.
Right, you get like a little boost to get ahead of the other one there too. Yeah.
And having said all that about like, you know, that game mode and the hero shooter game modes of this, I think that where it's at is the extraction mode, the extraction shooter mode. For me, that is what really makes it feel like a Gundam game, or it's part of the reason why it feels like a Gundam game, because it's like, I drop in with my team of Gundams, you know, and we have to like take on a wave of NPCs. Some of them are fairly difficult. Like some of those hero NPCs are kind of difficult to take down. And, you know, we're on the mission. We're you know, getting, you know, whatever treasure or whatever supplies or whatever. All right, it's time to extract. Oh shit, there's another team there. And then we have to fight the other team. And it just like, I don't know, man, that feels really good. Encountering another set of players with your friends and having to like, I'm just like hearing like, oh my God, I need help over here. And then like,
and it's got that in a good way syndrome where you need to know what the other mechs can do in the fight against them. It's funny because I just read another review that said like Tricera tweaks ASAP, it's too strong. And it's like, if you've played as the Tricera, you know that no matter how high your DPI is on your mouse, it has a limit to how fast it can rotate in
Right.
place.
Right.
So if you're faster than him, he just can't. It's like EVE Online. If you're faster than him, they just can't catch you.
Right. You can
Yeah.
just circle strafe as tight as you can
Right.
with melee mech, and he's toast. You know what
So
I
I
mean?
say get good, but it's more like learn more about how the game plays because there isn't a
Also,
hard meta.
it's like Tricera, just from our amateur like levels of gameplay, we realize, hey, I have a Tricera here. Oh, let's just kill it. And then everyone turns to it, and then it
Yeah.
dies because he thinks I'm invincible, and I'll just sit down right in the middle of the level.
Yep.
And if you have a competent team, you go, we will kill you now. Because what
Yeah.
you really need to be doing is you need to be setting up in a lane and make it hard for us to find you.
Exactly.
You know, so it's just like Buck said. I do not think there's an OP Gundam.
No,
No,
absolutely
like-
not. No,
Yeah.
everybody, there's always a play and a counterplay. The
What?
last thing that I want to talk about with this game is how fucking good these mechs feel to actually maneuver. The
Mhm.
controls are so incredibly responsive. I love zipping around in and out of the danger zone. The speed is incredible. Even on slow characters, you still feel incredibly fast. And
Mhm.
I think you said the other day, Max, something about the spacing of this game, like they're like traversing space. It just like feels incredibly good, and like the verticality of it, like being able to fly in
Mhm.
all different directions, being able to switch in and out of different firing modes and different forms for your mechs on the fly feels so good. Like being the Stego, coming in, like just unloading all of the guns that I have at somebody, then turning into the turret, and then unloading my
Yeah.
missiles, and then firing my guns, like all in one big ass volley, just feels so fucking cool, dude.
Yeah, it really does.
It feels very active. I'm using all 10 of these fingers, and that feels incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so much
Incredible,
fun.
dude.
That's-
You better
like
have a
the
good
jet
pinky.
guy.
Yeah.
Like Buck said, you zip across. Like, all right, here's the action. You're in jet form. You launch all your missiles. You go over past the action, turn into the mech, rotate 300
Yep.
or
Yeah.
180
Yep.
degrees, charge
Yep.
up your sniper rifle, shoot into the thing. Now one of your missiles has respawned. You shoot it, then you turn back into a jet, zip across the action,
he
shoot
gets
the
it.
other missile, and you're just like, oh
Yeah.
my fucking
It's
god,
about
dude.
understanding the mechs, and you do have to play a bit as a team as well too, which is frustrating in any team games. And literally, people were complaining about the other players. Like, this game's terrible because the other players suck. And it was
I
like,
mean, what are you
is
gonna
wrong
do?
gonna
You know,
do?
what are you
Yeah.
gonna
I
do
mean,
about that?
It's not a perfect game. It's still in a demo. It's still in a beta when they're complaining about the tutorial. Yeah, the tutorials and the intro is still buggy and bad voice acting. I do wish they would ditch the weird loot box thing because it has nothing to do with it just has to do with paint colors
Yeah,
and
right.
getting credits
Yeah.
to unlock more of the mechs. Because right now you can get every mech without giving them a dime.
True.
Yeah.
And you can't even give them any money yet, which I
Yeah.
probably would have by now.
Me too.
And so, of course, there's some downsides to every game there. But I mean, overall, man, if you want that really good mech experience, the really good Gundam experience, because too many Gundam games make you stay glued to the ground.
Yeah.
This gives you a really good Armored Core / Gundam
Yep.
experience.
Yep, the aerial stuff being balanced with the energy meter to make it to where it's not
Genius.
do everything and also zip around. It's like no,
Genius.
zip around and then do something, or you know what I mean. So
Mhm.
we're running long. I think we could
Yeah.
talk for hours and hours longer, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this discussion up with my final thought, which is just like Buck said. These reviews, I don't listen to them. The guy that said the tutorial is long and boring, it is. But what did I say at the beginning of this episode? Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it, because when you get into the game, you'll thank me later. Okay, we are going to take our last break of the episode, come back, do our what else you got, and then go play more Mecha Break. All right, we'll be right back.
A Gundam.
A Gundam!
It's a Gundam.
Impossible! Gundam! It's a Gundam!
It's a Gundam.
It's a Gundam!
Okay, guys, what else you got for me? The segment of our show, we can bring anything to the table, be it video game or otherwise. This week, I have a short review for a game that we got sent a code for.
Cool.
So we got a code for Dungeon Fell.
Oh, this one looked
One
good.
word. So this is developed and published by Brad Fox Studios, which is probably just a guy named Brad Fox. On February 21st, 2025, it is currently $17.99 on Steam. So Dungeon Fell is a roguelike turn-based 3-team party RPG thingy. It reminds me of if Slay the Spire didn't have the cards in it, and you could play as all three of the classes like simultaneously, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I guess like most roguelikes, honestly. So um let's see. The things I like. The animation is good. The it's made in Unreal Engine, so it's smooth and and the style is okay. It's just the style is like, I don't know what to call this, but it's Clash of Clans adjacent. Does everyone
That's a good way
understand
to
what I'm
describe
saying?
it.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like Plants vs Zombies, like, or like any of the, like, where it's just like cartoony with the bit, and
Big heads.
I just don't like it. I just don't
That's
like it.
fair.
And I didn't want to like be mean to the developers. Thank you for the code and everything. Your game is fun and it looks good, but I just don't like this art style. It makes me think all the characters are gonna go.
They're all
Like,
me's.
this sucks.
Yeah.
Just a
Um,
choice. That's all.
It is
Yeah,
just a
right,
choice,
yeah.
but I choose differently, please. So it has a good amount of interesting battle mechanics to its turn basedness, but nothing mind blowing. The coolest thing is that when you take your turn, you have a certain number of action points that you can spend, and then at the beginning of every turn, you regain up to half of the maximum number of action points that you start a battle with, and then there is a pool of action points that are like up for grabs for any of your units to use. And you replenish that pool by doing this thing called breaking an enemy, which is like every enemy has a certain number of times that you can hit it before it goes into like a stunned mode for a turn. And when you break the enemy's guards, you get a point into this pool of like shared things. So it just makes it to where you can like, you sometimes in times when you're like, this guy's gonna go after this character and he's out of ability points, but I really need to kill this guy before he takes his next turn. Like, I'm gonna dip into the shared pool. You dip into the pool and get your ability
cool.
points so that he can. Yeah, I was like,
I like
that's
that.
nice. That's actually,
I like
because at this point I'm going, okay, this is very similar to a lot of turn-based roguelikes. You know what I mean? So what else you got? For me, game. And the answer was that. The answer was, it's got this action point system, because outside of that, there's a bunch of different characters that you can put in your party. I thought that was cool. There's 15 to be precise, and most of them are fantasy things like a knight or a ranger or a monk or a samurai. But there's a spaceman and an alien and a pirate and a robot, and the name of the robot is Heist-O-Tron, and I don't know why, but it is. I didn't unlock those characters, so I didn't get to play as them, but they all have like the spaceman guy was an attacker, and the alien is a healer, and the robot is a tank. They all have like similar
That's fun.
roles like that. When you come out of like a dungeon, you can use any like currency and these items that you gain to climb a skill tree with those classes. So the next time you bring them in, they're a little bit stronger. That was kind of cool. And there was a bunch of different levels to pick from. So Slay the Spire just has like the level. You're just like going through it and you go up through, right? Whereas this game is just like level 1 is the Sentinel's Tomb, right? And then you enter it and it's Slay the Spire, where it's just like, okay, the first battle. All right, you did the first battle. All right, now which way do you want to go? This way has a healing spot in it. This way has items, and this way has money. And then when you finish that, you go, okay, now you have unlocked the Lich's Tomb or whatever. And it's just like you go into Lich's Tomb and it is bigger and longer and has a wider variety of whatever. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
That's a little
neat.
different. It kind of incentivizes you to keep playing, to beat all the different levels and to experiment with different classes in the different levels. So that was cool. So overall, this game is serviceable as a roguelike turn-based RPG game. It doesn't do anything particularly amazing and new. And while looking good, I can't say, wow, it looks so cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'd prefer the 2D bad drawings, honestly, of Slay the Spire, just style-wise, over the very smooth-looking 3D models that you have, but they all look like they're from Toy Story. And so I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah. This game-
The way he
so,
says it. Thank you.
yeah, that's what I have to say about Dungeon Fell. It's $17.99 on Steam. I think that if you really like roguelike turn-based RPGs, that you would like this. But if you don't particularly like this is not Slay the Spire. This is not like something where this is not Monster Train where you're gonna pick it up and be like, Jesus Christ, this is so addicting. I think that you'll just be like, oh wow, this is an RPG, huh? It's a roguelike RPG. Yep, okay. Maybe return that for $18. Maybe if I could get it for $5, that kill a couple hours.
What's your time worth, boy?
So yeah, Bad Fox, your game is out. This is not a beta or anything, so I can't tell you to improve anything. Like your game is just out. But my opinion is that just like style wasn't for me, but you made a serviceable RPG. Kudos to you. Buck.
Yeah.
What else have you got for us this week?
In the continuing theme of things that transform, I cannot believe I am even looking at this coming up on its 40th anniversary in conjunction with Hasbro. That's right. Matt Tracker and the gang are back because the helicopters still turn into smaller helicopters. They're doing a re-release of Mask toys.
Whoa.
The Mobile
really?
Armored Strike Command Wave 1 comes out later this summer of Matt Tracker's Camaro.
And they're not changing the molds at all. They're the same.
They're just updating it and adding little like little effects you can stick on, like to look like machine gun fire and other things. But there's like Miles Mayhem and his jet / helicopter thing, and Condor's getting his bike, and then Bruce Sato and Matt Tracker in the big semi truck are all the 4 vehicles in Wave 1.
This was
anniversary.
This was like a Saturday morning cartoon show that was the same era as Transformers and G.I. Joe and all of these.
Never heard of this one.
It's
I still have all my Mask
incredibly,
toys.
Yes, the theme song is so fucking catchy. But it's so
they did an extended version of the theme song for this release.
this is such a cult thing too. Like
Yes,
people know
it's great.
Transformers and people know G.I. Joe, but
Never
it's
heard of
very rare to
this.
find someone
Yeah.
like, Mask, and be like, no, and it's like, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Which is
but
funny
they
because
literally
Mask had like 75 episodes.
not only do they all have unique vehicles that turn into different vehicles. That's right. It doesn't change into the car turns into an airplane, and then like this guy's helicopter turns into a submarine. But more importantly, they all literally have masks that they wear on top of their heads that have powers too. Like one of the guys like has one that like can make rocks move, and the other guy has X-ray vision with his mask. Like, it's so good. I cannot explain why it's so good.
Have you ever seen the Robot Chicken sketch that makes fun of Mask?
Yes, of course.
And the lyrics in the song are the helicopters turn into smaller helicopters. Their base in this was a gas station, and so the joke is, do they sell the gas to themselves? And then Matt Tracker's like, hey, whose mask is this? This isn't really a mask. This is more like a helmet. I was so excited.
Thank you, Robot Chicken.
Yeah. I was so excited when I saw. I love my Mask toys, and I want to see what the boxes look like, because it's a pretty good chance if I buy these, I'm not going to take them out of the box.
Look like the same from what
that'd
I'm
be great.
Googling. That's hilarious. Raph, what else have you got for us this week, sir?
Honestly, not a whole lot. I've just kind of in between stuff at work. I've been watching the Capcom Cup. It's going on until as of this recording, I think tomorrow. Really, I've only had time to watch day one because it's like 12 hours of footage.
Dear God.
But yeah, a few things. I guess
mostly online stuff though, right? Capcom Cup is...
No, it's all in person in Japan.
Sweet.
Yeah. So they got all these pros out there in Japan. I forgot what city they're in, but they're all competing for that $1 million prize.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm happy to see someone using Terry. I was watching earlier today. Seeing Terry at a high level is kind of heartwarming because he's kind of like a very mid-tier character. So it's a little surprising. Lots of Akumas and Kens. Not surprised by that at all, because that's like the top level Shotos that people play. So
I
Yeah.
hate that when that happens in fighting games, though, where
Yeah,
there's only
dude.
like 2 characters on the roster that are worth it, and that's all
Yeah.
you see is mirror matches and stuff.
I mean,
That's a bummer.
honestly, there's a lot of great characters in Street Fighter 6, but it's just people really love playing as fucking Ken, and I get why. Ken's a fucking badass Shoto, and Akuma is kind of a glass cannon that'll fuck you up in a few hits. But yeah, no, I mean that's about it. Just kind of been watching the Capcom Cup. It's still going on, so if you get a chance, check it out. It's on Twitch on the Capcom Fighters Network. But yeah, that's about it.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. That does it for another episode of the Game Treasure Podcast. We have reached the end. Thank you, dear listener or watcher, for listening or watching. Do us a huge favor if you haven't already and like and subscribe. If you are just listening, don't forget that you can go to our YouTube and subscribe there so you can watch us stream. Because every once in a while, we will stream scary games on Sundays. Raft Whale, Baldur's Gate is starting back up again with me and Caitlin this Saturday now that she's settled in LA. And then,
she moved.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, much more. You can also see our shorts on there, which are fun. You can reach out to us via our email at gametreasurepodcast@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or games that you want us to play and review/talk about. Head on over to our merch store and our Patreon. You can find all of that at our Linktree at linktree/thegtp. If you do become a Patreon member, you'll get access to our exclusive UFO 50 deep dive series that we've been making. Pretty dope. Should have the 3rd episode up hopefully by Sunday of last week, according to this recording.
Already up.
Whoops.
It's already up.
Yeah. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find them on Apple Music, Spotify, and anywhere you can find music on the internet. And, of course, we would like to thank RetroGameTreasure.com. Owned and operated by the Megabuck himself, Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that sends you bespoke boxes, customized cases of retro video games every month in the mail. That's right. No more hunting. No more driving to the game store. No more bringing the game home and it doesn't work. No more getting to the game store and they don't have a game that you would even want, or you just sit there at the counter with analysis paralysis going, do I want medieval or do I want Tomba or something? Instead, Retro Game Treasure subscribers select from a wide range of consoles and genres to collect for, and then those games come to them every month. That's right. They even keep track of the games that you own either already and the games that they send you so that you don't get a repeat game in any of your boxes. Little standard there. Want to start collecting a new console? They make it very easy because you can head on over to the console shop page of their website, whether you're a member or not, and get great deals on new and refurbished consoles and accessories. So, like, if you want to start collecting an N64, you can just buy an N64 from them and then go over to your console preferences and select, I have a 64. And then your boxes will start having N64 games in them, potentially. It's a great service, and it works like magic. Start collecting games the easy way today with RetroGameTreasure.com. Buck,
Yeah.
you have a list of new subscribers this week.
I do. This week we welcome Chris Gerlinger, Cameron Bowler, Daniel Hall, Jason Wall. Did you guys coordinate that? Joshua Gray, and Thomas Masher.
Thank you so much for subscribing. It means a lot. And until next week, my name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure Podcast. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's a Gundam!